Hey, so this is Robert, and thank you for tuning in to the show. And yeah, hope everybody is doing well. And this is the beginning of a busy holiday season. And I guess what better way to get this month started than to talk with somebody who is, I mean, if you've seen like a couple of like resources around on the internet, you've probably heard of Actors Connection. So I'm here talking with Colleen from, AC. Just a little abbreviation. So thank you so much for joining me on on their end, presumably this afternoon because, on my timeline it's still morning and it's just now afternoon. So yeah, different time zones, fine. So thank you for joining me. Not
Absolutely. Well,
joining me,
we play
participating.
nice with the other coast, Robert, so it's all good.
Yep, of course. So I guess to start this off, how is 2024? Man, I honestly can't believe we're almost at the end of this. So yeah, how is this year? Just to do a quick little recap.
Yeah, well, you can answer that in so many ways, personally, professionally, energetically, right? I, you know, I'm I love New Year's, right? I'm a girl that loves a fresh start. I like planning, I like strategizing. So for me, towards the end of the year, I'm usually more excited about the next year than I am like concerned about what happened in the year before. I think in terms of like arts and entertainment, we've been on a bumpy ride. We're coming off of a couple of crazy years, COVID and strikes, and it's just been a little bit wild. But I'm excited and motivated for 2025. So I think, you know, I spend more time thinking about what's coming than thinking about what's past.
Yeah, that's kind of a really good way of putting it. Just as a really good outlook on, just staying optimistic for, you know, the new year and what have you.
Yeah. Well, you want to be walking in the direction that you want to go, right? So if you're constantly turning around facing what's behind you or what has been, you can't possibly be moving forward at the pace that you could be moving forward. So of course, I'm not saying that you want to, put aside any of that learning, like that, that previous year has built the person that's standing here today. So, you do want to honor the things that you've learned and the things that you've done, but it's time to make sure that you're always looking towards the direction that you want to go, and building the life that you want to live.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm pretty much the same way.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah, yeah. So I guess to get this started, like, I know we've discussed like how has this year been for you, but what is something that you're really the most proud of so far?
Mm. Honestly, am proud of, the whole AC team, the fact that we're still here, like surviving the COVID landscape, changing our entire business plan as a company, continuing to serve our clients, coming up with like new ways to offer our products, coming up with new products, and like staying the course. I'm really proud of that. A lot of arts organizations did not recover from COVID. And, we have a job in arts and entertainment that has, you know, and our company is still here, so we're just thrilled that, that we were able to kind of recreate the mold and, still be able to serve our customers in New York, LA, Atlanta, and, Chicago, Philly, all those major arts communities. And, we're lucky and blessed to be able to do it. So I would say that I'm just, proud that we were able to ride so many waves in the entertainment industry to still be in the jobs that we're in.
Yeah, because I know it's definitely been like extremely busy for a lot of us. Like 2024 has kind of been the year where it really felt like it was going so quick, and then at the same time, it's like slowish. I don't, I'm not really sure I don't know how to put it, but yeah, it's just like simultaneously slow, and then it's like really, really fast at the same time.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say that. It's I think we have the capability as human beings to break down our moments. and that we can rush through our moments or we can savor our moments. And I think about this a lot. I have a little guy. I have a 3-year-old. So I'm always thinking about savoring my moments because he's not going to be 3 for forever, but he's right around the corner, 4, 5, 6. Next thing you know, he's 18 and off to college, right? So you always want to think about savoring your moments because when you are fully living in the moment, time feels like it'll extend a little bit. And also, you are more capable of making great decisions and knowing all of the information and building the fullest relationships. So the more that we can choose to live in the moment and not kind of let them like speed on by, the better. But even when you are focused on getting the most out of every single moment, still sometimes like a day could go by and you're like, what happened? And I think that's always a good indicator that you're doing something you love and you're doing something you enjoy, where you're not watching the clock, waiting to be like, I'm done with this. Like, let's move on. Let's go get lunch. Let's go do whatever. Right. So I think, you know, there are good things and bad things about that. The good things of, time being something that if you can slow it down in the moment, you can enjoy it more and you can learn more, you can process more. But also, like when you are doing things that you truly enjoy, the moments all add up together to be so much faster than you ever thought they were.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, that is that is so true because yeah, everything that you just said, it is like, man, what even is time anymore?
Seriously, seriously.
Yeah. So what got you let's talk about your background. So what was something that really kind of was the moment where the bug just kind of bit you to, acting or just everything that you're doing right now?
So many of us come into this industry as kids, right? Attention seeking kids who want to be on stage and be applauded and do a great job. And, so I got into theater as a child. It's funny, no one in my immediate family, had any experience in it. And I remember when I did ask my dad to bring me to my first audition, he was like, well, how about I go get you a field hockey stick? And I'm like, no, 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 just drop me off, dad. You don't have to do anything. Drop me off. And that started when I was quite young, and I started to do plays and things like that at school. And I ended up going to Montclair State, got a BFA in theater and acting. And during my time at Montclair, I kind of realized that I had a bit of a producer business brain. So I was, learning to be an actor, but I was also doing a bit of producing. I was producing some concerts. I was, creating some projects. I learned how to stage manage. So I got involved in that a little bit. And then I got involved in arts administration. So I worked a lot at theaters all throughout, professional theaters throughout New Jersey. I worked for the New Jersey Theater Alliance. I worked for Luna Stage. I did a little bit of producing on the side, a little bit of stage managing on the side, and a little bit of acting. So I wore all of the hats. Ultimately, I ended up creating my own arts education company, which I ran throughout the state of New Jersey for a bit. And then I was poached from that to go work at Actors Connection. And all throughout it, I also worked with some arts management consultants working at the intersection between business and the arts, which is really exciting, really interesting work to kind of get those worlds to like enjoy and interact with each other. So yeah, I've worn a lot of hats. I've done a lot of different things, and I do love what I'm doing now. And I'm a big champion for artists that take themselves seriously, artists that want to run their careers like the business folk that they need to be successful. And I think that that is something that separates an artist from a wannabe artist, is someone who can really look at it through the lens that they need to look at it in order to be successful. And that is the business lens. It's the art is just so wonderful and enjoyable, but in order to really monetize it and make it your lifestyle, it's really important to analyze it and make sure that you're making the right decisions for your career.
Yeah. So you've worked with several theaters and you were a part of like the New Jersey Theater Alliance. So how would you say that even though you kind of technically already answered this, but would you say that it was like a very it really helped you grow a lot in as a performer and being an entrepreneur, and it was kind of like the springboard for when you became the president of Actors Connection?
Yeah, I mean, the New Jersey theater community is wonderful. New Jersey has a wonderful professional theater community, and I can't say enough positive things about it. It's very close knit. It's, a lot of about immersing yourself in that community. So I was very involved in that in my 20s, in the New Jersey theater scene. And then throughout my 30s, started to build my own arts education company. And then I, of course, went on to Actors Connection. Every team that you work with, whether it be for a particular theater project or a film project or um, with our particular administrative staff, you're going to learn so much by working under really great leadership. And I've had the benefit of working under really great leaders, particularly some really great female leaders. Shout out Luna Stage. But yeah, I've had really great opportunities to learn from people who have been in the business much longer, who have, learned things the hard way so I could learn things the easy way. Shout out Richard Bryant. I worked with Richard for a long time. He ran front of house consulting where he did a lot of arts management consulting, and I learned a boatload working with him. I also learned a lot from working with Paige Price when we were out at Theater Aspen out in Aspen, Colorado. Not the New Jersey scene, the Colorado scene, but very much so that a wonderful professional theater where I really grew a lot as an arts administrator and someone who is a big supporter of artistic opportunities and communities. So just, exposure to really great brains is really great no matter what industry you're in, whether or not you want to be an actor or you want to be a producer or you want to be, I don't know, a composer or a teacher, right? You want to make sure that you surround yourself with brains that let you learn and explore, but also just uplift and inspire you through learning opportunities and so forth. So yeah, I've had the benefit of working with such great people that I've learned so much from that I still to this day utilize their techniques or their processes in my day-to-day life right now.
Nice. And tell us a little about Inspirited Projects.
Oh, so that was the arts education company. I created that honestly. I had taken a brief stint outside of entertainment and I was working in executive search. So I was working for, and this is a go way back in my 20s. I was working for helping companies hire great talent for their companies. So it's funny, hiring talent, but like talent in the business world and not talent in the acting world. And I just didn't want to do it. I just didn't want to do that job anymore, but I needed to make some money. So I was like, well, what do I know? And I knew how to curate a really fun acting class, from my time at Montclair State University. So I created a program, I brought it to a local private school, and I said, I'd like to run a program at your school. And they said yes. And I started my first program. That was before I formally became Inspirited Projects. And I ended up growing the program. I brought it to many schools. I brought it to different private schools, public schools, municipalities. I taught classes to kids of all ages. I created curriculums for kids of all ages, including adults with disabilities. So I ran programming all up and down the New Jersey coastline for Inspirited Projects, and it was wonderful. I, worked with so many wonderful students. I brought a lot of students into the arts. The arts is such a great catch-all for personalities. There's a home for every type of person in artistic expression. It's just a matter of finding what works for them. And that was really fun work to do with youth because, maybe they didn't feel like they were winning at school at that day, but they could feel like they were winning in rehearsal. And, to be able to be that part of a student's day was just really awesome.
Yeah, and I know with Actors Connection, there's definitely a lot of, because you've done so much work and just a lot of really great things, and just getting to be a president and just overseeing every aspect of, with actors that are just coming in from all over the world. So, with Actors Connection, would you say that that was like the big pivotal point in your journey, like just as an entrepreneur and with your everything creative that, you know, with all of your creative endeavors?
Well, what was fun, having my arts education company and working so much with kids ages preschool through 18 and then switching and working with adults. It was like working with the grown-up versions of all the kids that I was serving at Inspirited Projects. So I think that was really kind of a special transition to kind of see people through those creatives that I fell in love with as kids. Here they are as adults, and now I can support them in adults as they actually take the steps to pursue those dreams that hit their heart when they were kids. So I think that was just a really unique position to be in, and I really, really thoroughly enjoyed it. I also just believe that there's just so much great talent out there. There are so many wonderful unknown performers that just need some help, need some guidance, need some suggestions, and they can be on their way towards building a great career. And it is really fantastic to meet them through Actors Connection and to be a support system for them, especially when you're building your way up in a career, and especially if it's a career that people near to you in your life have not followed. So it's like a pretty new career path for you. You have questions, and you have things pop up, and you might not be sure which way to turn, or how to manage a certain situation, or how to handle yourself with with this type of correspondence. And when it comes to Actors Connection, I tell people, we are your team until you have your own team. If you don't know who to ask about this particular industry question, come ask us. Come, send us an email. If you don't know whether or not something is an industry standard and you have a question about it, come ask us. We're here to be your people until you have your own team and you can fly off and be the series regular that we know you can be.
So, would you think that that was kind of how you started working with Actors Connection? Like,
No, oh no. I
this,
started working with Actors Connection by one of the majority share owners of Actors Connection. I had stage managed an off-Broadway play that he was the investor in. So I met him on that project. I don't even know what year we did that. And I just built a relationship with him through my role as a stage manager on that particular project. And I realized that he had a love for entrepreneurship like I did. So we actually worked on several other startups together. So we worked on a kombucha company together. We worked on a greeting card company together. We had a couple of projects that we did together. And when he realized that he needed some new leadership at Actors Connection, he reached out to me, and that's kind of how it happened.
nice. And I know that you're a huge advocate for diversity. Would you say that it was also kind of like it's such an important, like, transition with, the acting industry as we're moving forward with more and more talent that are just coming from, because we are talking about talent from all over, and diversity is definitely a key factors.
Mhm.
And how much would you say that it was a huge, like, it made like it was kind of like a giant, just a factor in
Yeah.
so many actors getting their start in the business?
Yeah. Well, it was really, I mean, at the end of the day, if you want interesting stories, you need to hear them from different types of people. If we're only hearing stories from the same types of people, they're going to get old, and they're going to get old quickly. So in order to fully reflect the world that we live in, we need to embrace diversity. Right. So in order to tell fully fleshed out stories, we need the diversity over the end. Right. So I mean, it's really exciting for us that the industry has changed so much in terms of diversity. It still has some work to do, but we're starting to see more roles being written for minorities, which is fantastic. More roles being written for different ages, more roles being written for women. So we've seen a lot of exciting shifts. We still have some movement to go there, but I think it just does a better job at telling unique, powerful, impactful, emotionally inspiring stories if you can bring in different types of people to tell them. And I always tell actors, it is your job as an actor to line up with the work that needs your heart. And not every project's going to need your heart, right? Because who you are is unique. So you have to line up with the project that needs that unique you, that unique spirit, that unique soul, that unique person. And the more we bring our uniqueness to the business, the more we will flourish as an industry, the more we will flourish as individual projects within the industry, the more we will flourish as individual performers.
Just out of curiosity, who are some of the names that have had, great anecdotes or success stories from
Oh,
helping
at
them
Actors
out with their
Connection?
journey? Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
people that you've helped. Yeah.
I'm going to tell you one specifically, but let me pull up so I can tell you his credits. So when I first started at Actors Connection, one thing that's important as an entrepreneur, anyone in business, is your pipeline, your hiring pipeline. And when we had our space in New York, we had a pretty large staff. Now we are much, much smaller as a company, but back pre-COVID, we had a pretty big staff because we had a front desk and a lot happening every day in our spaces. We had rentals and that sort of thing. So, in order to have a proper hiring pipeline, you need to be able to find talent and train up talent. And I wanted to make sure that we had really great people, artists who were also excited about helping other artists in our midst at Actors Connection. So that way, when we were needing to hire new people, we already had a pipeline of great talent to choose from. So I started an internship program and I did a call out and I said, okay, whoever's interested in interning in Actors Connection, please reach out. And I, drafted up this whole program that was part training and part work. And, I was hoping to pour a lot into our internship class in order to, have some great talent that would help Actors Connection grow. And it works like gangbusters. I don't know if we just found the best people on the planet, or, God was just smiling on us. But we had some really, really great people come into our program. And one of our actors that came into our internship program, who ended up working with us, ended up becoming on staff. And now he's just been working so much as an actor, is William Martinez. He's based out of New York. He started out as one of our interns, really new to the business. And since then he's had a series regular on Grey's Anatomy. So he's just been doing really, really wonderful stuff. He's also runs a networking company and does lots of great things, but he's had some really big roles within a very short amount of time. I love that story because, he came to us just to learn and to be a part of our community, and he's just doing really, great things on his own. Now, he might not be this A-list celebrity yet, that like a household name that you know of, but you've definitely seen him in work on TV. So, yeah, that's just something, one of the stories. But really, you are seeing students at Actors Connection on TV constantly. Specifically when it comes to TV shows that are filmed in the New York market, we're a little bit heavy New York. So, if you're watching Law and Order, you've seen our students. If you're watching Blue Bloods, you've seen our students. If you're watching, any of those major, East Coast shows, we do work a little bit on the West Coast. So we do have some West Coast CDs that come work with us. We also do a little bit in the Atlanta market as well. But people who come in and take our classes go on to book really great things. And of
I
course,
mean, I'm just
Robert, I can't make any guarantees there. Some people will hear that and they'll be like, great, I'm going to take a class with Actors Connection and tomorrow I'm going to be a star. And of course, I know but that's not the way it works. There's so much hustle, there's so much movement behind the scenes. All we can do is just help you train and network and, let help you work your way to the top with, strategy and advice and things that you may need. But of course, you got to be the magic juice, right? You got to learn the lines, you got to, land those roles on your own, but it's, we're here to help be a resource to you on your way up.
yeah, because at the end of the day, it's about pushing us to our absolute best and
Hmm.
just really shining out there. Because
Hmm.
it can be pretty grueling, the hustle, the bustle, like you said.
Hmm. Hmm. Oh, absolutely. And, so often people kind of get down on themselves in this career when you're not seeing the wins, when you're not feeling like you're getting the traction, and I think it's all about how you measure things. It's all about how you measure success and it's all about how you crunch your data, and so often actors are not looking at their data accurately. So I'm always happy to like, hop on the phone with an actor and be like, okay, what has been happening? What are your results? What are we extrapolating from these results to create you an action plan that can move you further in the next couple of months? We love helping actors with things like that.
Yeah. I also want to give a shout out to another actress that you've worked with. Oh my goodness, I really hope I'm saying her name. Shahana Jan? Is that her name?
Who is it?
Oh, did it cut out? It's Shahana? Shahana?
Shahana. Yes. Yeah. We've had such really great people. She's wonderful. We love celebrating the work that she's done. And, it's been a long time actually since I've connected with her. So I hope that if you're listening, I hope you're doing great, girl. But yeah, we've had a lot of great actors that come through and just really do extraordinary things. And, we like to cheerlead people. We used to have, when we had our offices in Midtown, now we, mostly work virtually. We do have some in-person classes, but we don't have our offices in person like we used to. But we used to have this little bell. Whenever something great happened to one of our actors, we would ring the bell or have the actors ring the bell. And it's important to celebrate those micro successes because they help propel you forward. They help keep you motivated because, when you're an actor, you're a lone wolf often. It's not like you're working with a team consistently. You're working with a team for a project and then that project ends. And you're working for a team with a project and that project ends. So, like, you have these times, these in between times, your projects where you're lone wolfing it. And that can start to feel a little bit lonely. So it's important to, make sure that you build your sense of community within those little down periods in between projects, and that you keep your mindset focused on, positive action steps and, just positive thoughts in general.
Of course. Yeah. I mean, there's so much more that goes into it. Like you said, I I believe this would be like something that we could talk about on a whole separate podcast episode, but since we're kind of almost running out of time, I wanted to quickly mention how the pandemic, and like I said, there's a lot of stuff that happened over the last couple of years that have really affected the industry. So how did it affect you personally with like, because you mentioned the pandemic and then we also had strikes and now we're in a video game strike for SAG-AFTRA. How has all of this affected you personally? Because Actors Connection, you did mention it used to be in person, but everything's just kind of been moved virtually.
Mhm.
Tell us about it.
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, I life's gonna have bumps and challenges. No one is immune to life's bumps and challenges. It is all in the system that you use to manage them within your own self and within your own heart. For me personally, I'm a Christian, so I kind of bring everything back to my faith, and I know not to put too much stock in worrying about everything in the outside world because you could worry yourself into madness. You really could, or worry yourself into sadness. And it's so easy to get trapped into the what ifs and the worries, and you just can't live your life that way. You have to, move forward in faith. And for me, I don't put too much stock in what's happening in the world because, it's you got to focus on what you know to be true in your heart. So for me personally, my faith carries me through all of those hills and valleys, and I'm super grateful of it for it. And I suggest that if people are seeking and if you're having trouble with dealing with the highs and lows of life, because they're gonna come. You are not immune. You're not immune, Robert. I'm not immune. So having a great belief system that will help you manage that is just worth its weight in gold.
Yeah, amen to that. Um, Anything else that you wanted to, discuss, like any upcoming work, projects, or anything that you're really excited about before we close this year out?
Yes. Oh, Robert, thank you for asking that. We are bringing a group of actors to Atlanta. So if anybody's interested in the Atlanta market, we are doing a trip to Atlanta in February where you can come for a weekend and just meet a bunch of agents and casting directors in the Atlanta market. I love the Atlanta market. That Southern hospitality is real. So if anyone's interested, you can go ahead and check us out on our website, actorsconnection.com, and click on the Atlanta Connection tab. But also, anybody who's interested, Robert, can feel free to send me an email if they've got questions. If they're a listener of yours, they're a friend of ours. So my email is just Colleen, Colleen, at actorsconnection.com. Happy to hear from you and to chat with you and help you with, whatever we can.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of like your self-plug social platforms.
Oh, yep. Well, yeah, I mean, we're on Facebook and Instagram, but honestly, email us, come right to us directly, come right to our website.
And any last bit of advice before we conclude this episode?
Well, Robert, I actually just want to end by applauding you for, as a performer and creating your own podcast and building your own community. I mean, it's just exactly what we tell people to do. I think it's really smart, moving forward as, AI is going to shake up our industry a bit. So, creating your own community is really important right now for performers. So I just want to applaud you for just, doing it and taking the steps and building that on your own. I think that that's awesome. And we suggest everybody do it. And keep tight to those positive thoughts and find your positive community, and I think that makes the world of a difference.
Yeah, amen. And
Mhm.
if I were to add to this, it's definitely a lot easier said than done. Like building a community, doing a podcast, and worrying about, if robots are going to take our job, but prayerfully not. But I'm just saying that, as a voiceover artist, I know this is a discussion that you've heard countless times throughout this year, so I know it's kind of like we're sounding like we're sort of beating a dead horse at this point, but we just really wanted to make awareness known that listen, we're available. So no artificial like AI techno stuff. Like you can like I know people are gonna discuss like the pros and cons of AI, but hey, we're we're still available for work. I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair, and I think that we're going to see a surge in indie projects because there's going to be people where AI is going to feel flat to them. And they're not going to be interested in supporting it. They're going to be interested in work by creators because there's just you cannot replicate the soul that goes into some of the work that you have seen in our industry. You can't replicate that.
I mean, indie productions are they're on a huge rise right now. So
Mhm.
I think now's the best time as ever to like especially if you're a voiceover artist, now's a really good time to just get your name out there in indie animations. You never know.
You never know. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And I mean, I do have a little like card over there, but Video Game Strike is definitely still going on, so be sure to support it. And I really don't know what else to say, but thank you so much, Colleen, for taking the time because I know both of us have really busy schedules, especially with the holidays coming up. So I just really appreciate you just doing this with me on,
Absolutely, Robert. Thanks for the invite.
yep, anytime. And any closing thoughts, or I think,
Yeah, just
are we
thanks
good?
for having me, and I hope everyone has a wonderful holiday season.
Yep, same here. And with that said, I'm Robert Jackson. Be sure to check out Actors Connection, and I'll see y'all next time. Take care and stay tuned to Station Square. Peace.